Italy's biggest bank just told the SEC how much XRP exposure it still owns. It did not sell one share. If you hold 1,000 XRP, that filing is the proof you have been waiting for. I pulled that document up myself off the SEC's own servers, and I'll show you the second number printed beside it, the one that dropped. The XRP price sits at $1.07 today. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want more XRP news. Let's go to the first tape.
They enable the on-chain economy in a way that we've never seen before. XRP's utility is really tied to the fact that we're building a trusted financial operating system to kind of power real use cases that touch financial institutions every day. We've heard Brad Garlinghouse talk about this repeatedly about XRP's North Star, which is trust and XRP utility and XRP and liquidity and XRP. These things together are allowing us again to build real financial markets on chain in a way that institutions can begin to move at a speed that we haven't seen before. And it is what's really exciting and promising about a purpose-built blockchain that has the right features that unlocks this kind of value for institutions. And that's what's really cool about what is coming for XRPL.
That is the head of engineering at RippleX. He never names a price. He says XRP Utilities rests on a trusted financial operating system that institutions can already run on. I want you to hold that because today I went looking for numbers that have a page behind them, filed with a regulator, signed with a date on the front. The first one came from the SEC's own servers, and almost nobody has read it. The first one landed on the SEC servers 3 days ago, and Italy's biggest bank just signed it. Intesa Sanpaolo is the biggest bank in Italy. Every big manager that touches American markets has to hand the SEC a list of what it owns 4 times a year in public. On July 31st, Intesa handed in its June list, and line by line, there it is. Grayscale XRP Trust ETF, 712,000 shares. Now here's the part I had to read twice. In its March list, Intesa reported the exact same 712,000 shares worth $18 million. On this one, they are worth $14.42 million. The share count did not move by a single unit, only the price moved. So Italy's biggest bank watched roughly $4 million of paper value come off of its line, and it did not hand back one share of its XRP. So I asked the obvious question, who else has filed? I ran the SEC's own full text search on that trust CUSIP number, and 36 filings came back from 27 different institutions. Look at the trend on your screen. For the December quarter, 8 institutions reported. For the March quarter, 19 did. The June quarter is still open, and under the SEC rules, those reports are due by August 14th. So every big manager still holding it has to print the number by then. I'll be reading that page the day it closes, and I'll bring you back the count. But before that deadline, go back to Intesa one more time because the filing has a second half of it, and that's the half that really matters. Intesa filed the same table 3 months ago. This is the exact table for the March quarter, and this I pulled up too. In March, the bank reported 712,000 shares. In June, we just saw it reported another 712,000 shares. The exact same number of shares. So what did change is the money beside it. In March, it was worth 18.5 million. In June, it's worth about 14.5 million. It lost about $4 million in value across those 3 months. But the best part is the bank did not sell a single share to stop it. That is what a bank looks like when it has decided the drawdown is not the story. They're not trading XRP, they're holding it. And that's what they had to tell the American regulator in writing. So here is tonight's question. Are the institutions early or are they just patient? Drop early or patient down in the comments. Tap the like, subscribe, and notification bell while you're down there. So here is a number that does have a page, and it rewrites itself every 60 seconds. The 7 American spot XRP ETFs are holding just shy of 1 billion XRP in their vaults today. That is 1% of every XRP that will ever exist, and it leaves them 7.3 million XRP short of 1 billion locked away. Last week alone, those funds pulled in another 15.25 million XRP. So if you read that again, In 1 week, they took in double what is left between here and the billion XRP mark. So if you hold 1000 XRP, the free supply standing between that number is getting smaller and smaller while you sleep, and the page counting it is public right here. And while everybody else argued about the price, another XRP filing went up quietly. Evernorth Holding is going public through a merger headed for the Nasdaq, and Ripple Labs is named party to that agreement. And the filing says out loud what they are building: the world's leading institutional XRP Treasury. Their words, not mine. On July 30th, they filed their chief operating officer's own words with the SEC. Meg Nakamura had just come off the floor at WebEx in Tokyo in front of nearly 15,000 people. Her read is on your screen. Japanese institutions with regulatory clarity are eager to lean in. Her words in a federal filing about XRP carrying tokenized assets. That is a company telling regulators why it wants exposure in a document it can be held to.
Ledger. In my opinion, zero-knowledge proofs is a very, very powerful tool. When we talk about privacy, people think about 100% privacy, where everything is hidden, nobody can ever see that, and that those things could be used in nefarious ways. However, what blockchains enable is something called programmable privacy. What does that mean? That means that you can get the best of both worlds. While you can hide information, but at the same time, you can do selective disclosure, meaning disclose the relevant information to third parties, for example, auditors, for compliance purposes. The concept of selective disclosure is simple, that you do not have to open the entire data, entire information, but just expose the necessary parts required for different applications. For example, if you want to enter a club, you do not necessarily need to tell your age. All that you need to prove is that you are 18 years above, right? And that's something that programmable privacy provides you. Selectively disclose that you are 18 years above without necessarily telling that you are 22 years old, for example.
That was the leader in research development at RippleX. Speaking back just a few months ago, her number one priority back then was putting zero-knowledge proofs on the XRP Ledger. That lets an institution hide a balance and still show an auditor exactly what it needs. I want you to hear what she was describing. That's not a price call. That is the plumbing being built for banks on the XRP Ledger by name, and she said it 6 months ago before anybody else was arguing about it. Now let's pull up the live XRP chart with me. The XRP price is soft tonight, and one number in front of you needed it to be green. Your XRP news today in one line. The documents moved while the price did not. I'm watching August 14th when the next batch of those filings has to land. So far, only 8 institutions have printed their June number. That page is public and it's free, and it grows every time another one files. If you're holding 1000 XRP tonight, every document I open today is pointing your way. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.